We're joined by Sean. How are you doing, Sean?
Good, thank you, Porky. Happy to be here.
Nice to see you, mate. We'll get stuck straight in then. First of all, I want to thank everybody for clicking on the link to that take pinned to the top that takes us to my sponsor, Human Nutrient, because he's had a mad load of sales. But the thing is, it's mainly through my other channel, Porky's International, which has shocked me. People seem to be more interested in that than this one at the moment. I don't know why. I think it might be something to do with the Gary Neville situation, the video I've just done. Did you see it?
Uh, Not yet. No, I've been back to back in meetings, but in terms of those supplements, I've ordered some. They're actually back. There's actually proper science behind the rationale as to why they're using them, and I'm a cynic where supplements concerned, but they're well worth a punt.
Yeah. He's done some in boxing, but they're mainly rugby players that rugby clubs have been getting in touch and stuff like that. So that's good. But have you seen the trending stories regarding Gary Neville's opinion on flags?
Oh, is that Gary Neville's that it's everyone else with? Is it white people's fault for wanting to fly a flag? I only caught the headline because if I see Gary Neville, I tend to switch off. But that's what I saw. Apparently, it was everyone's fault, but everyone's fault, but the people we know whose fault it was.
Well, Gary Neville took white middle-aged men's
It was
money.
my fault.
Yeah, at the gate at Old Trafford for over 15 years, and he's ended up with a fortune, 77.8 million is worth or something. Doesn't he own the biggest stake in some big hotel that's worth 300 mil or something? And blah blah blah. I'm not going to say where it is, but I know exactly where his house is. It's like a Teletubby house, isn't it?
I've seen it.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were
I've
remember
seen.
having a
Well, I
battle
went to
in planning permission.
Yeah, I went to see a pal of mine in Bury, and we ended up going driving about, and we ended up near Clifford Road. I'm not going to say the exact area, but it's on like a hill, like the Teletubbies, and he's like under the hill in here. It's all the water for him is from the rain, in it, and the sun powers it. He don't get any bills or anything, does he? And all. It looks nice what he's done. He's obviously an eco warrior and that, but yet he drives a Bentley I Tiger or something, doesn't he? So he's
You And you've got to remember, this is the same guy that was a massive critique of the World Cup being at where it was. But then, as soon as they offered him a couple of quid to go and commentate on it, then principles got binned, didn't they? So, in it, white middle-aged men that ran through the turnstiles, mainly at the club he owns as well at Salford. So, there's a bit of an irony there.
Yeah, he's a bit of a know-all. I mean, he's not for me. He's one when he were in England squad. I've read up a loads about him. Obviously, he's not my. I remember him being just a shite right back, and he never really. He scored 7 goals in 700 games or something. A goal every 100 games or something. But it was Beckham's mate, wasn't he? And he just reminded me of this knob that you get at school. But whenever we were in England team, if any sponsors were handing out freebies to certain people or to staff, he'd go on a rampage. He's a bit of a taker. Do you know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
into profit and all that. And I read an interview where they were going on about he had so many piggy banks in his bedroom as a kid. You know, like certain Man United players and piggy banks.
Yeah.
He'd have pound coins, 50p's for certain players, and at the end of the year he'd get it all out and go shopping with it. And
Yeah.
it's quite boring, but
His biggest thing I remember about him, his dad was called Neville. That always made me chuckle.
yeah, Neville. Yeah, he ended up in Crown Court, didn't he, for a sex
He
offence?
did.
Twitter,
He
didn't it?
did, yeah. And I think his mum was heavily involved or a director of Bury down Gig Lane before it folded as well. So yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah,
oh, they had a
I
good
have
do
seen.
out that, didn't they?
Oh, I bet they did. There's a reason clubs fold, isn't there?
Yeah. But okay then. Rhino against Makhmedov for a couple of days off. Uh, Sean, what do you think about that?
I'm intrigued and I'm looking forward to it. And I really hope Dave wins. I've just listened to when I was meant to be listening in a meeting, apologies, employer. Um, the interview he's just done with Carl Froch, and it was
Yeah.
quite enlightening. I do like how he's very honest. You know, they always want to smash his face. I'm the best shape of my life, blah blah. He's very open to the fact that he could lose, but I never know if if that's a sign of fragility or he's just being really honest. Because he is
Well,
actually, he does seem to have trained for it, but he always mentions like, well, I could lose because all boxers could, which I never know is a good thing or a bad thing.
the interview, I've just seen it myself, and I thought Dave were conducting the interview, not the
Me
Cobra.
too.
Did you watch
Me
it?
too. He was like I say, Froch. I think a lot of people get Froch wrong and think he's so up himself because I think he's ripping himself half the time and hammering himself up when he mentions that he fought in front of how many 80,000 blah blah. But I think he was letting Dave have some like some joke digs at him about value and stuff. So I thought they had a decent rapport. But I thought, like you said, I thought Froch were a guest on his channel.
Guest on his own channel. It looked to me like Eddie were controlling it because whenever Frotch said, who promoted you for autos when you weren't fit and you only got 12.5 grand? And he went, I can't remember. Well, Frotch didn't want to say it because he wants to get in with Eddie. And Dave didn't want to say it because he's a matchroom fighter, isn't he, for another fight? So
He is
we
now.
don't talk about Eddie moment.
Yeah. It was quite funny though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought it
For
were
30
quite funny
minutes.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah, me
Uh,
too.
I think he concentrated on how many times the Cobra had been flattened, actually.
He
Well,
did. He kept mentioning it, didn't he? About Bellew putting him over and stuff, and yeah, and Groves and that. And then they were arguing about who had the better chin and stuff. But no, it was all light-hearted. It was nice. It was a bit. Duke McKenzie did a really good, a very honest assessment of the fight. I think theirs was a bit more bantery. But yeah, no, I think anything to do with the fight this week, I've tried to listen to because despite Dave and we all wish he'd trained properly and not wasted so many years. I think we're all willing him to win, aren't we?
yeah, but what you've got to understand is, right, do you know when you're approaching 34 after Christmas, and we've heard all this before, I'm taking it serious, and they get beaten, they say, well, I didn't really take it serious. Look, once you've not took it serious and you've been a pro since you were a teenager, you're 13 year in the ring. Now you've got a big fight. You say you're taking it serious and you've got down from 20 stone to 18, which is well done. But in my opinion, going back in time, leopards don't change the spots, do they? Do you know what I
No,
mean?
no, no. And then it was telling when Dave was mentioning to Carl, like, did you ever not take it seriously for a camp?
What?
And Carl wasn't lying. He said, no. Like you've mentioned before, and it's a really good point. He didn't go into camp to get the weight off. He got the weight off and then went into camp. So
Mm.
different mindsets. And like you said, he said the right things before Price. I know he said he'd done 4 minutes sparring, blah, 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 4 minutes training beforehand, but I'm just hoping he doesn't unravel. And I'm also hoping he doesn't do a Liam Cameron, who just seemed to be happy to be there in the second fight and didn't even protest the
Yeah.
stoppage. So I don't know if it's, I don't know, once you've got an ounce or two, if that's pressure off for him when he's gone from wasting 8, 12 grand purses before he stepped in the ring to now having money. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But I don't know. We'll find out on the night. And he keeps talking. I don't think it's healthy to have two of your fighters on your card because whilst he's not in the ring, some emotion he's invested in his fighters. He just seems to be as close to Joe and that. And I know Joe drives him about and stuff, but and he was also talking about Joe's been helping with his diet. You shouldn't be having one of your fighters helping you keep you to your diet. You should be locked in.
Mm. Well, he's been training long enough now to know what to eat, hasn't he?
We all do, don't we? We all know what to eat, even if we're not
Yeah.
boxers.
Mm. Uh, Getting back to what you're on about there, Frotch used to start a 2 week camp on his own at 176 and he'd go down to 168, bang on, and then he'd turn up for 12 week with McCracken. So his was technically 14 week a camp. Every fight, and everyone was serious. The only one he didn't take serious was the Dale Westerman one, and he squeaked up at line and won that one. And the one where they were the first Groves one, because
It
he
was
was a
doing that. Yeah,
dancing
that's
thing
nice
with
with his
him. Yeah.
misses. But it's also telling that he's saying he's doing prep because he's coming in at 176 before. That's only £8 lighter in it. He's just into light heavy.
Mm.
And that's another sign of the discipline that people like Dave, I don't think, will ever reach the heights, talent wise or otherwise, because he'll always come into camp at 20 stone six or 20 stone. You
22
don't need,
stone, some of them.
yeah, you don't, he's 6'3.5". I get he might have a big frame, but you don't need to walk around like that, do you?
No, no, you don't. And Dennis used to say to me, I could shake him like a leaf if he doesn't listen. Because when he were at bit, I've told this story many times. For them that don't listen, Dennis used to give him £1 a month for a train pass. So he'd go from Cunningsborough, where he lived, same street as me, opposite Station Hotel, straight onto the train, couple of stops, you're in Sheffield, then you're into Dennis's gym. Then you come back, that's it. Now, if you're not going training, does he think for 1 minute that Big Ron ain't going to find out about that? Of course he will. So then when Big Ron used to collar him, and don't forget he won 2.5 grand a fight as well and didn't do a ticket. Didn't do more than 7 tickets in any.
Bad gig, is it?
He
So
didn't
he's
do a
got a
ticket.
wage.
You're getting two
He's
and a
got
half grand a fight. You're on £1 a month. You no expenses, right? You're getting all that, and you can't. Sorry, you can't even turn
a,
up. So Dennis would say, "Well, what you been doing?" "Oh, I've been doing runs and up Cunningsborough viaducts and that." Dennis would say, "No problem, then. Let's get on scales." And there you go. You get on the
I don't.
scales, you're heavy, collect your cards, pop, pop, bang. And that's how it went for him, and that's a shame. And what disappoints me is I saw the Peter Fury interview, and he's going, "Oh, Dave's like family, Dave's this, Dave's like that." Well, why did you throw him out gym then, if he's your family? Peter lobbed him out because he wouldn't move his head. He said, "I don't want a tough guy because basically going to make Peter look stupid. If you're not moving your head and you're weighty, that's no good." I mean, he was living with that Eddie Chambers, one he in Bolton, and both
Yes, he was. I
living
remember
flat.
that.
Him and Eddie Chambers in Bolton. I think he fought Vladimir, didn't he? Eddie Chambers,
He
Vladimir
did, yeah.
Klitschko. So if you,
Yeah.
and it's no good being a tough guy and having ability, and then realizing it when you're 30 odd. But if you've got all that ability and you're tough, you've got to move your head. And I think that frustrated Peter because he's very
I bet
defensive
it.
minded, isn't he?
He is. Yeah, I bet it did.
So it's
Yeah.
a
It's like
shame. But Peter should come out and say, "Well, now he were lazy and I lobbed him out, Jim, instead of all that cocksucking." I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that, mate, because that isn't what happens. So stop trying tell us and stop trying to rearrange history. That's not what happened. Do you know what I mean? Collect your cards, get gone, just like with Dennis. And that's it.
yeah.
And David's had that all his career. He's messed everybody about. Now, he could have found his niche in Jamie Moore and Fireman Sam. So we're going to see, aren't we?
We are, and I hope he's listened. I hope he's not only lost the weight, I hope he's trained. He says he doesn't spar too much now. I don't know if 300 rounds unpaid off AJ put you off it, but I think he's done a bit with Curtis, his lad. He's done sparred with a 7 foot amateur and done bits and bobs. But you know more about me about how much sparring people should be having before a fight. So I don't know if he's got that right or wrong, but he definitely looks in a better position
Well, of
physically, and
course
he
he does,
sounds.
yeah. Of course he does, yeah. But sparring, he's done too much sparring of it years, in my opinion, Sean. Do you know what I mean? You could do too
Yeah,
much, and I mean, I've seen him spar Yui, and he couldn't get near them boys, Yui and Tyson. So I don't know about now. Him and Yui, it's not a bad fight now, is it? But I think Yui's style would be all wrong for Rhino.
me too.
Do you
Me
know what I
too.
mean?
I think that would be a very lopsided points win.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a fight Huey's not got much commercial value or consistency, has he? So I hope for Dave's sake, if he does get another chance after this, even if he does lose,
Well, we're going to
just
see.
another
Who do you
boring
think
loss.
will fight Rhino if he wins, or who do you think he'll fight? He'll fight if he loses.
If he wins, I think it's pick a carcass, isn't it? I think it'll be um, Deontay or AJ in terms of shot to bits but big name. Who knows if belts get held up and uh, someone like Parker has to wait even longer. I don't think he'll go, very honest, I don't think he'd go anywhere near Ajit Kabayel. Um, and if he loses, I suspect they'll try and big up the Fraser rematch because I think he'll stop Jamie TKV, but I don't think the outcome will be any different between Dave and even if Dave does train for that fight and don't quit. So that's what I think, but it's just my opinion. So
You think if he loses, they'll throw him in with Elmer Fudd
what for the third for the
trilogy?
I think if his trainer has the best interests of Johnny at heart, they won't because I know he's very limited. Um, Elmer, but if he's gonna, I still don't think. I think he's got his number. Do you know when the fighters that have got your number? I think he's got his number. I think I wouldn't, but money talks. Eddie Hearn has them both. So maybe, but if anyone who around Johnny cares about him, I'd swerve that like the plague. Go fight some domestics, maybe get on some non-televised show, maybe just pop up on GBM and maybe do what I think he won the area title previously, but build up that way.
Who have you got? Who's your heart telling you? Obviously, sorry, your heart, you want Rhino to win, but if you were a betting man and it were your last 50 quid in the world and you had a month till payday, what would you put your 50 on?
Well, I'd probably go farm food because I'm a tight ass. But if I had to bet it, Porky, I would say that the best. This is part heart, but this is what I think will happen. I think we see the best version of Dave, and he's really trained, and he's coming lighter but not too light, so that Mac can't just splatter him. Mac's mentally weak. He breaks him down. He tries to break Dave. Dave's too robust. Mac's heart goes a little bit, um, and then he stops him in the middle of the round with a body shot, and Mac doesn't beat the count, and he does a little bit of a heartbreaker, a la Caballero.
So, okay. Do you think he'll break his heart, Rhino, or break Macbedoff's heart?
I must say, you're asking head and heart. I think I'm talking heart. I've got a horrible and splatters him, and then Dave smiles and go, "At least I got paid. I'll fight for a British title now." So yeah, no, I'm going to go for him. Stop sitting on the fence and being a bean. Dave stops him, and we see the best version of Dave, and he finally achieves some of his undoubted abilities that he's had for the past 13 years. That's what I'm going for, Porky. I'm in a positive frame of mind. Dave's going to win. Dave's going to stop him with an horrible body shot.
Well, I've got him in my accumulator, Rhino, by KO because it's more attractive the winnings. You know what I mean? But me head says
Yeah,
Macbedoff just punches
yeah,
him all over the place and
yeah.
punches him and
So you,
chokes out.
so you're betting not with your head or your heart. You're betting with your odds, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm betting with odds, but I've got Macbedoff to punch his head in and Jamie Moore to save his life. That's just how I look at it, mate. So, I
I
mean, we're
think you might
talking
not be
about a
wrong.
man here who's never took it serious, and his best win in the last 7 years is who? Johnny Fisher, a rugby player. Let's not get
Yeah.
carried away here. Do you know what I mean? People are getting carried away and being nostalgic and all that and blah de blah. And Dave's playing them like a fiddle on YouTube. Oh, he's playing all of them, mate. So that's just how I've got it, mate. So, and if people want to disagree with me, disagree with me. I don't care. Well, that's how I've got it. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Johnny Horsecock. He looks like he's having his contract run down at Sky Sports. He has set up a YouTube channel, and obviously behind the scenes, he's been sticking it to me on the quiet. I don't think that people in boxing have got loose lips. He's been sticking it to me on the quiet for 8 years for his horsecock name, and he's now set up a YouTube channel and is now a freelancer doing the odd talk sport gig for 500 quid and a train pass, and he's a YouTuber trying to get his name out there and hoping for more pundit work while Sky is still paying the rest of his contract up. Do you see Johnny landing a big pundit job at
Not sure he
Dazone?
will. I'm not sure he will. I know he's literally firing out the content now with his channel and with abandon and stuff and having a good go at it. I presume he's got a backer. He's got someone in because Johnny don't know how to do a YouTube channel. He's got someone in with him, into saying I don't know either, a fella from Yorkshire, but he's been so critical of
Bricktop,
yeah that
Eddie Hills.
yeah he has both of them. Do you know when he was at Sky and thought that was
He
going to be
weren't
there
when Eddie
forever?
were at Sky, though, worry.
No, but like I say, but I don't think. I think Eddie's a bit more forgiving because Eddie will work with anyone for a quid if they're any good. But I think Frank's got a lot of influence, and despite him promoting, he's been pretty scathing about Frank at times. So I think he might find because there's a lot of people that have migrated over to thing, and like I say, Bean's going to be out for Bean, isn't he? As long as Bean's all right, he's not going to be lobbying for his, despite him saying it's his great mate doing a Sam Jones. But I think he'll struggle. He's he's getting the guests on his channel at the moment. But yeah, I think he will struggle. Maybe he'll pop up as a GBM, as a because I presume he's close or knows Izzy from when Izzy was a pro, but I don't know how close they are or are.
Well, we're going to see, aren't we? Do you fear for Horsecock? Do you think he might be at food banks?
No, I think he's done well when you consider he was getting £250,000 for his world title fights, and they weren't the nicest defences. Some of them were draws and stuff, and he were lucky against Thompson. I don't know how wisely he's invested his money or not. I know he's divorced, so that probably cost him a couple of quid. I know we were popping Kirsty Gallagher, and she won't be a cheap date, but his daughters are grown up, so I assume they're not financially reliant on him. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether he's. I presume his Sky contract was a very good one, and he's had it for a long time. But depends on how they manage the money. Um, most of the Ingle fighters tend to. Well, the Ingle fighters that I know of tend to invest in property and listen to Dominic, like Kid Galahad and was. But I don't know. Frank, he's got a farm in Derbyshire. But I don't know what else he's got. I know he's got a. I know he's got a few kids, but they're adults, aren't they? So who knows? If I see him working in a shop in Meadowhall, I think we'll have the answer.
Yeah, he could be working at Thornton's in Medwall this time next year. You don't know, do
Yeah.
you?
Or even in the run up to Christmas, they'll be taking on seasonal.
Okay. Simon Jordan has stuck it to Eddie Hills regarding him putting himself in the mix, declaring war on Dana White. Eddie says he relishes the battle, but it looks to me like Dana's outfit's a bit bigger than Matchroom's at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, is it Zuffer? Yeah,
Zucker.
Dana's.
Paramount.
Yeah, yes, forgot that. Yeah, and Turkey as well. So it's not like he can claim we've got Turkey, you haven't got Turkey. Turkey's working with everyone, isn't he? Um, yeah, I value the competition. I don't know if the format will work, and obviously the Ali Act swerves is not something I think any of us really support. Well, any of us support, but
No.
different belt. Can't just claim that the four belts have some sanctity. WBO was on a par with your WBUs and your WBFs before Warren got involved. So the WBCs and the IBF, the WBAs, they've never covered themselves in glory. They've had more investigations than anyone. So who's to say his belt won't grow and have actual respect for it as well? For me, if it's more opportunity for boxers, crack on.
Well, he's got 455 fighters, it says this morning, right? That's for 17 weight divisions. So that's like 27, is it? Each one? 27 people for each one. If there's probably more in the classier divisions, like welter,
Yeah,
light, heavy, and heavy, the old school
yeah.
uh divisions, but for 450 odd fighters and they're going to have their own world title belts. There's going to be no interims and all that, and blah blah blah. They're just going to go for this. A bit going to be like UFC in it. But Eddie's relishing the battle. But do you think Eddie's just jump trying to get piggyback onto Dana White's PR because he's technically, according to internet, he's analytics and all that views. He's the biggest talked about promoter in combat sports, isn't he, Dana White? Do you think Eddie's just piggyback onto him because he's with Turkey and that, Dana?
Wouldn't surprise me if there's PR and promotional value in aligning himself with Diner, even if it's just by saying getting some fake beef and then working with him. Wouldn't surprise me because Eddie's a businessman, and one thing we can say for Eddie is that he will work with anyone, won't he?
Yeah.
Pretty near enough. He'll try and have his digs, but yeah. I think it's going to be a decent battlefield. He does want to get into battle, but I dare say he doesn't really want a battle. He'll want a working relationship smoothed over by Turkey, where they all get some crumbs from
Do you
Saudi.
think
Or
Eddie's
plenty.
thick-skinned, Sean? Because he never called Rhino. He was saying the other day for 5.5 years, right? And then all of a sudden they're besties. But I know that Rhino wouldn't even have his name mentioned in his house at one point. Now all of a sudden the swapping spitting show. Do you think that's a bit rich from Eddie, or do you think
Yeah,
that's
but you've
just
got.
how he is?
I think that's how he is and how he'll have been raised. He grew up in luxury. He's never done a proper day's work in his life. He'll be arrogant and narcissistic, so he's not going to be bothered if he lets a fella down from South Yorkshire that he'd sold the dream to. He won't give a proverbial. He's got some commercial use now. Elmer Fudd's having a rest. So yeah, and if Dave loses, again, he'll get one more fight in, I think, in his deal, and then he'll just roll him out again. But I think Dave's skin's got a bit thicker and he's realised how the game works a bit more. So I dare say he'll be less hurt as well. But yeah, Eddie don't give two hoots about his fighters.
Okay. Uh, Simon Jordan's coming out all guns blazing again. He's sticking it to Spotty Frank at Matchroom for saying that Ben Shalom didn't know what he was doing with Ben Whittaker with his matchmaking and that, but Ben Whittaker's still undefeated. I think they're going on about the Liam Cameron situation, but I think he got it all wrong with weight on that one, so they're saying. But do you think Spotty Frank's there just to do Eddie's dirty work, a bit like Samuel Jones?
Yeah, he's like Frank's like the kid that hangs around with the bigger bully, didn't he? Obviously, his employer who's giving him the pretend CEO job. But yeah, he's just parroting the pettiness of Eddie, really. Like I say, Ben's profile's big. I know he was an Olympic silver medalist and he came out with something, but we can all say that Ben could have done this, could have done that. But I thought they marketed him well as a bad guy, which he revelled in. And I know people like to see people lose when they've got that bad guy moniker, and he didn't lose, but he got a lucky draw. Or I can't remember, it was a no contest or lucky draw, but I don't think they did a bad job with him. I think it's obviously everyone has to advocate for themselves as a boxer, but I thought Ben would have had an opportunity to be a big BBC crossover star now, but I dare say Matchroom have offered him some ungodly amount of money to switch over because Eddie's petty, and I think in part he's driven by just wanting to get him from under Ben. But yeah, I don't think he did a massively bad job with him, particularly for a promoter that was learning as he went himself. He managed to secure some good things, admittedly with the back in the sky. So no, I think Frank's just being a petty little bully on behalf of a bigger bully.
Okay. Super Bean, he's in the mix. He's calling Ben Whittaker the crown jewel and a big loss to Sky Sports. He's got 3 gigs a week now at Talk Sports. Super Bean, he's done well, hasn't he?
He's landed on his feet. He's arisen from the um he's arisen from the betting slips, and he's doing really well now. He's all over. He's all over. Is he still working with GBM as well? Because he was coming back as a director, but now he's the zone man, he's talk sport man. Is he even still working with them anymore?
With who?
GBM, because he was helping them a bit,
Yeah, he
wasn't
did.
he?
He did some other night, didn't he, on the GBM thing?
Ah, okay. So yes, I know that's three pies. DAZN, GBM, talks, but yeah, he's not doing bad. I think maybe Johnny will be asking him for a sub. But yeah, he's everywhere now for a man that was going to do something radically different when he had life-changing incidents. He's ended up doing, if not the same thing, more of the same thing.
Yeah, well, he's gonna have to do more than he did at Sky just to make a quarter of the wage up because he was on Megado at Sky.
Was he?
And he would have been getting looked after in other ways by certain people as well, not mentioning any names, but I think we all know who I'm on about because they only
Yep.
had an exclusive deal with one company, didn't they, Sky then?
Yes, they did.
Well, for that last so many years, didn't they? Liam Cameron's piped up gr- from under his rock. He's got a big, massive, massive beard on him. I thought he were. Well, I didn't know what he were actually when I seen him online, but he's piping up for the Ben Whittaker trilogy, saying "Show me the money" on Talk Sport. After that performance against Ben, I don't think they could go down that route. Surely could they?
I don't think Ben needs it. I know Cameron Liam's got a comeback fight, hasn't he, against someone who's like something and one. Yeah, but I can see the value in it for Liam, but I think it'd be fairer for him to have a rematch with Lyndon Arthur than Ben. But now I think Ben, particularly now he's on with Matchroom, he's not gonna touch Liam. He's on a different plane. Um, he'll be going and fighting on cards, and I don't think he'll need the likes of Liam Cameron at 34 with a decent comeback from where he was in terms of weight, mind, body, and spirit. But no, I think Liam would do well to nick a British title at this stage of his career.
You know, when you look at Liam Cameron's record, don't forget he was an ABA champion, wasn't he?
And a Commonwealth pro.
And a Commonwealth, but technically the Commonwealth one, he failed a cocaine test after that fight, the
Um,
Sheedy fight, and apparently Sheedy's looking into getting that changed to a no contest, apparently. So, and obviously he'll be down as still the winner, but he retired anyway after that, so I don't see the point. But when I look at Liam Cameron's record, uh, who's his best win really? When you look at it, I mean, his last win was Hussein Ataba, a journeyman guy, who
yeah.
he did in a round. But before that, I'm looking for a win on his record.
And,
It's
and
he lost against Luke Blackledge, and for me, it's Sam Sheedy. But obviously, he failed the cocaine test after that. He failed
yeah.
the Genman cocaine test. That's a no contest. Genman's team chased that up. Sheedy's team didn't. He retired anyway. But where's
And
his best win? He ain't got one, has he?
And I think we misremember Liam's pre. It's not a dig at him. I don't know the man, but it's not. I think we misremember his career with the test. Like it stole his march towards world greatness. He'd had multiple losses before that fight, hadn't he? We had about four or
Yeah.
five losses before his career got derailed for the cocaine incident. Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think his best performance was he boxed quite well against Lyndon Arthur, but he still lost. I know we had some argued that it could have gone either way, but I'm struggling to think of a name that he beat and beat well. He's got his best performances in the memory are a tight loss to Lyndon, who failed at world level, although the opponent's difficult. A draw against someone that, like you said, probably didn't prepare well, but certainly dealt with it correctly the second time. So yeah, he's done well out of it anyway. And he's got a Queensbury deal. I'm sure he's doing a video every day about his house getting done up. So presume that'll be all sorted soon. So yeah, he's earning well for his age and his wins, isn't he?
Yeah, and their lass has only got 3 year left in jail, so maybe you might have got bathroom finished by the time she's done her sentence.
Yeah, no, I know, and I'll have a nice white bathroom for her to come into, so it'll be lovely for him.
Yeah, if he drops his sniff on tiles, he won't be able to find it. Pop, pop, bang.
No, that's a first world problem, that, Porky.
You should always get black tiles or dark blue if you're a sniff head like Big P.
That's
Uh,
it. That,
okay. Right. Tyson Fury says there's a press release gone out today. He's coming back in 2026. He last fought 2024, so he's going to have the whole of 2025 off and however many months in 26. Are we even bothered now? Because once he retires, he's not allowed to do a drug test, is he?
he renews his vows more than he fights.
Hey,
He renews his wedding vows more than he fights, Tyson does. I always hear the renew him again, renew him again. So no, we will, I say we, I won't, but people will care because it's a fella off Netflix and he'll talk about the big coming and how everyone's done him over and how Usyk apparently robbed him twice. So he'll come back and but yeah, do the hardcore boxing fans care? I dare say they don't as well, because with every passing year, he's only going to get slower and worse, isn't he? No one's getting better in the late 30s.
mm, okay. Do you want to go on to part two? Can you make it 20 for part two, mate?
Yes, please. I'm dying for the loo, so I'll see you
All
in
right. I'll
five.
see you at 22 then, Sean. Cheers.
Bye.
Thanks. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I like to read the comments. It's very important. You know what I mean? Because I just like to savage people if they get tasty. I'm only joking. And thanks to people that have been liking and subscribing and leaving a comment on Porky's International. It's not a racist channel just because we've gone in heavy on immigration. We just want these people vetting. That's all it is. We don't want people that have been turfed out of jail. They've got no identification. They could be rapists because they're all coming over here and they're putting moves on our daughters and sisters and mother-in-laws and stuff like that, aren't we? These people coming over here need vetting. That's my opinion. Does that make me racist? I don't care if people think it does, but I don't think it does make us racist. We just want things on an even keel, don't we? So there's a few videos on there over that, and obviously I've had to go in heavy on Gary Neville because not once, as he mentioned, the grooming gangs in Bury, his village where he's from. We don't mention that, does he? Is that because he's Sadiq Khan's mate? Pop, pop, bang. So thanks for watching Porky's International YouTube. Thanks for watching Porky's Corner. And thanks for clicking on the links on both my channels, pinned to the top, for Human Nutrients, my sponsors, who are actually having it off at the moment. And sometimes you get lucky, don't you, with sponsors? Sometimes you don't. My first sponsor, and you can ask anybody this, was a tea bag company from Brighton. I forgot what the name of it were actually, but they sent me some, and they were absolutely fantastic. And I did a proper detox on them, but I'm not sure if it's the tea bag company or what. But they were really good. So I forgot your name, but if you're listening, email me about 8 years ago. So I've run out. Well, and we've had other sponsors as well, but that was a funny one. That I remember taking some around to Josh Wales, and his dad went, "What are them?" I went, "Tea bags." Mickey went, "Oh, I thought we'd be getting boxes." I still only got a couple of packets, Mick. You've got half of what I've got. But there you go. Some people are just ungrateful, aren't they? Well, of Mick anyway. Go on, pop, pop, bang. Go on, booyaka. Max, don't get in touch with me until you get down to Bridgeweight, Max. I don't want any 20 stoners coming to my house. Peace out.